I noticed in all of your chapters that you have a quote at the beginning of each chapter. And one of them, well, I thought this was fascinating, is Dr. Angell. And who is she, first of all? And
she's the author of this book, The Truth About Drug Companies, How They Deceive Us and What to Do About It. And she was the first female editor of the New England Journal of Medicine. She held that post for over 20 years. So if anyone understands the workings
prestigious,
understands the working of the system, it's her. And what I have a quote on chapter 6. I say, once upon a time, drug companies promoted drugs to treat disease. Now it is often just the opposite. They promote diseases to fit their drugs. I also have another quote by her in my first chapter, and it is this. The pharmaceutical industry has moved very far from its original high purpose of discovering and producing useful drugs. Now primarily a marketing machine to sell drugs of dubious benefit, this industry uses its wealth and power to co-opt every institution that might stand in its way, including the U.S. Congress, the Food and Drug Administration, academic medical centers, and the medical profession itself. Whew. That says it all right there, and we have this system right now that's really based on the drug companies making more money than providing real answers.
What does the FDA, what role do they play in the current healthcare system?
Well, I think they're designed to protect us from harm. Now they become very much allied with the drug companies, and as a result, I think that whether knowingly or unknowingly, they are approving drugs that should never be approved. And part of that problem is that many of the experts that the FDA selects to sit on these expert panels are basically paid employees of the drug companies. They rely almost exclusively on the drug companies for their financial existence. So it's a little bit of the fox watching the hen house, and that has to change.
Is it the drug companies that are funding a lot of the research?
Oh, the drug companies are controlling all aspects of our medical system. They control the funding of the studies. They produce their own journals. They advertise extensively in journals. You know, you mentioned earlier that prior to 1997, it was illegal for drug companies to advertise their drugs directly to consumers. That safeguard needs to be put back in place because direct-to-consumer advertising of drugs has increased the number of prescriptions written each year by over 30 million prescriptions. And it's just, the system is out of control. We have a system where the majority of people over the age of 55 are on 8 or more drugs at any single time. The average person over the age of 55 receives 34 prescriptions each year. Many of these drugs are associated with pretty significant side effects, and when you start combining them, boy, that really sets the stage for real disaster.
And who educates the doctors?
Yeah, who educates the doctors, exactly. The doctors are primarily educated by the drug salesperson, as well as continuing education programs funded by the drug companies, or by reading journals that are basically marketing pieces from the drug companies. You know, it's well known that the drug companies spend more money on marketing than they do on research. They spend, on average, about $60,000 per year per physician in the United States. All told, they spend about $60 billion in advertising and marketing.
This is what you're uncovering in your book.
Yeah, this book, I'm very proud of it. It really does try to bring to an awareness the problem, and most people understand that there is a problem, but what really separates my book is that it does provide a solution. So, you know, people can read, well, gee, these non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs that I'm taking for my arthritis are actually making the condition worse, and I'm going to suffer more joint destruction by taking them. What should I do instead? And that's what really separates my book, because it really helps people get on the path to health by utilizing the healing power of nature.
In your book, you talk about how at one point in time, our image of a drug company would be these guys in white coats. But today, it's more about a guy in a car going from selling product, selling the drug.
Yeah, you know, if you talk to medical doctors, they understand that the drug companies have become too pervasive in their system. They fund all the medical education. You know, they'll conduct programs and seminars in exotic vacation spots to lure doctors, and so the doctors only learn about prescribing their drugs. That's it. That's all. That's what they don't learn nutrition to any significant degree. They don't know about natural products, and they're like all of us. All of us are biased to an extent by what we're exposed to, and if you're not up on something, most people tend to be down on it, and that's not a bad way to be. And I encourage people to be a bit skeptical, but I also encourage them to be informed and understand the importance of learning about the drugs they're taking as well as these natural alternatives.
Well, we've been beating up the drug company a little bit here and some of the medication, but aren't there success stories with modern prescriptions?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we've all had our lives touched in magical ways by advances in modern medicine. We certainly don't want to throw the baby out with the wash. But the truth of the matter is that most conditions that people are suffering from now are related to diet, lifestyle, and our attitude. I'm basically talking about things like high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol levels, depression, arthritis. These are things where natural medicine really provides a better approach, a better answer.
And then I suppose we have to worry about side effects as well.
According to the FDA, over 2 million significant side effects happen as a result of taking drugs as they were prescribed each year. But I think it's much more extensive than that. For example, there's one popular heart medicine where the FDA tells us there are about 80 people per year that suffer a significant side effect. But if you look at Medicare records, it's responsible for over 30,000 hospital admissions. So our system is based upon a voluntary submission by the drug companies of any potential side effect related to a drug instead of a more extensive system that would allow us to really track the side effects. So it could be many-fold greater. And we know for an absolute fact that adverse drug reactions are just a huge, huge problem. They're responsible for over 100,000 deaths each year, making it the 4th leading cause of death behind heart disease, cancer, strokes. You have adverse reactions to drugs. That's just crazy. That's a lot of people losing their lives unnecessarily, and I'm sure that many viewers have known either family members or other people close to them who have suffered a very serious reaction to an over-the-counter or prescription drug.
It is the 4th leading cause of death.
Yeah, can you imagine that if people were dying as a result of taking vitamins or herbal products to the degree that people are dying as a result of taking these over-the-counter and prescription drugs? It's just, we have to find a better way, and that's what I focus on in the book. And it really does provide a good, clear guidance to people so that they can hopefully get off many of these medications that could potentially, kill them. And that's what my book says. The alternative treatments that may change your life and the prescriptions that could harm you. And I explain why those drugs may cause harm. And of course, I'm explaining why these natural approaches are the best way to go.
That is so powerful, Dr. Murray. Next, let's get into specific examples of alternatives and some details of how the drug companies' marketing methods have gotten out of control.